Greetings, friends, and welcome to yet another adventure into the world of prop making. Today we're working on the quintessential Halloween decoration, the graveyard cross. And I have done a concrete tombstone before, which is right there. And the rest of my crosses are wood. I built them about 6 years ago, and they turned out so cool that it's time that I build a video and share it with the world. Now, the great thing about this cross is they're built out of 2x6s, which means that the way it's set up right now, you get 2 crosses for every one 8-foot 2x6. And thank goodness the cost of lumber is coming down, because I can start doing wood things again, where it's just been very painful lately to go buy wood. So now, what you're going to be doing is you're going to get some card. This is just dollar store card, and you want to cut it into 5.5-inch strips. The first one you want it to be 5.5 by 18 inches. And then you want to fold it in the center. Second one, same thing, 5.5 inches wide. This one's 28 inches long. Take it, fold it in half, done. When you got to this point now, you're going to take your marker and you are going to design your cross. But the thing is you want to make sure, what I usually do is I like the base to be wider so it has more to stick into the ground, because we're going to be drilling a piece of rebar up through the bottom. And the other thing I want to make sure is that where those 2 crosses intersect, like the 2 pieces intersect, that you actually have it line up with the second one, because it'll do a lot to make the cross look better. And if you're going, that is some mess, that's me messing around, designing what looks good. I'm going to go with the blue line, not the purple one. And it's going to come together nice, because I already have a whole bunch of templates for the more traditional ones, you know, the typical full-blown cross. But you'll see them at the end of the video regardless, just to give you an idea of what you can do. Now what you're going to do is you're going to cut this out, and then you're going to use this to trace this onto the 2x6. So I'll be back when I've done that, and we will talk about the next step. See you in a few. We are all marked up. Ignore this. This is just the template shifted on me at the last second. Now, one of the most important things I want to talk about here is these lines. You can see that they go right through, and you can see, hopefully, that they're pretty close to each other, and they are. These are going to have to be cut out. We're going to have to be doing some notching on these. I'm going to be doing this on a radial arm saw, and what you're going to do is you can do this on a table saw as well, or with a router. Router's a bit harder because you have to do multiple passes. But you want to set your depth to 3/4 of an inch. And what 3/4 of an inch does is it puts it exactly halfway through this board. And then on this one, we are going to do the opposite. So this one we're going to notch in, and on this one we're going to notch the back, which means I got to move my lines. But actually it doesn't really matter because they're symmetrical, so they can be flipped over. So I'm going to go notch these down to 3/4 of an inch down. This one's going to be 3/4 of an inch down. And then what that allows is it allows this one to slot right into that one and make a perfect cross. When you do these lines, use a square, because you want to make your saw will square it up regardless, but you want to make sure that this cross member goes onto here square. So I'm going to go out. And you want to do this first. You do not do the bandsawing first and then cut this, because depending on your cross design, you won't be able to get a decent square edge. So notch first, then bandsaw. I'm going to go do the notching, and I'm going to show you how that goes. And after that, I'm going to go do the bandsawing. I'll be back. One adventure later with a wobble dado. If you don't know what a wobble dado is, it's a blade that sits in your saw. And it sits at an angle, so it wobbles back and forth as you're cutting. It's great for doing dados. Dados are literally when you do a cut, but I use it for notching. And it works out so well. Now, once you've got your 2 pieces notched, like I said, you want to make sure that when you are done, dry fit them. Make sure that they're going to latch well and they're going to look pretty good, you know. This one, you're always going to deal with wood thickness differences, especially on rough lumber. It's one of those things. It's not a huge difference, but you know, a 1/16 of an inch will show up, but doesn't matter. This is literally a garden cross, so no one's going to notice it anyways. Now, I'm going to go through, I'm going to use my bandsaw, and I'm going to cut all of these out. You'll notice that I've lost an edge here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually tempted to cut this whole thing out together on the saw. So when I do it, all my lines match up perfectly. It just makes it a bit more encumbranced when I'm trying to run it through my saw. But I will be back after I cut these out, and we will talk about the finishing on it, because you can do multiple things on it, but I will not talk about that now. Like I have trouble talking. I'll be back. We are back, and the routing and everything is done. As you can see, it has such a nice aged texture now. Okay, note to the wise. Oh, that was loud. That blade there I bought specifically to do this, and it's too aggressive. It actually caused me some problems when I got to the edge over here. You can see, maybe you can't. There's an edge taken out of that. On the other side, what happened was when I was going through this side was done with this. When I was going through, this caught, grabbed, pulled, dug in, went across my table, and cut my heat gun's wire in half. And I'm not happy about it, because now I have to go fix my heat gun. Go with a grinding disc. They're meant for metal and cutting metal. They do wood fine. They get plugged up a bit because you're dealing with wood, but for the most part, it's not a big deal. Now, what you have to do to make sure is you want to go through and you want to sand this all down. You want a nice, you don't want a smooth surface. You want a rough surface, but you want to get rid of that kiln finished surface from the sawmill. It just does not take the next step here. Okay, up here there is a link to a video that I put together on how to make a tea stain. And what it is pine has low tannin in it, and this tea stain, you put it on, it soaks into the grain, you let it dry, and then using a steel wool vinegar mix, which I described in that video, you put it on here, and what it does is instantaneously it goes gray. But I'm going to show it as I actually do it, because it's so neat when it actually happens. So I'm going to go coat this with the tea stain first, and then when I'm back, I will actually show you the effect the vinegar and steel wool mixture has on this clear pine. And it's the main reason I like to have the clear pine, because the wood is nice and fresh. You can use old wood for this. What I really like about this is you can build these from brand new fresh lumber and make them into exactly what you need on the first year that you're going. Anyways, I'll be back. All right, everything's assembled here. I've got 2 coats of the tea stain, as mentioned earlier, done onto this. And tea stain, vinegar, amazing situation here. You're going to see just the effect. Now in the bottom, I'm using rebar to hold these in the ground, so I drill a 5/8 inch hole about 2 inches deep. That way when it goes into my yard, it just inserts on and holds upright very easily. Now, I've put my vinegar and steel wool mixture that's been sitting about 7 days in this bottle. And now, the simple finish is you just spray it. You spray your whole prop with this material, with this fluid mixture, and you will see almost immediately the effect that this stuff has. So we'll go from a brand new wood, almost immediately you'll see it darken right off, and it takes a little while. Like, it's not like it's done, but you can already see the black coming through on a lot of the portions on it, and it looks so good, and it will age up your prop so quickly that it'll look perfect. Anyways, I'm going to finish off spraying this. I'm going to leave it for about an hour, let the mixture do its work, and I'll come back and I'll show you the grayed out prop. And I promise I will not put any paint on this thing beyond what you're seeing. But just as a quick note, you can already see here how black it's becoming. It is really a quick way to modify straight pine into an aged prop. I'll be back in a few. All right, the chemical reaction is not finished yet, but it'll keep on going. I just want to show you the final result, and you can see, I'll put up a picture of what it looked like before right here from like 4 minutes ago. It's such a fantastic trick for aging wood. Anyways, the next step we're going to do is we're going to put some trim on this to make it look a little bit, cooler, and you can do whatever you want at this stage. Technically, it's done. I'm going to put some chain to make it really look gothic, and then this frosts for the Halloween decor will be all finished. The one thing I needed to mention is at the top you can see some jagged pieces. Oh, sorry camera. There's some jagged edges cut out. I just did that on my bandsaw because I wanted it to match my screw up that happened right there, just to make it look a little bit more weathered than what it actually was. Anyways, I'll be back to show you the final bit of trim and the end of the video. See you in a few.